Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night of the local time. As you know, the Ukrainians attacked the territory of Russian Federation with drones, and according to the Russian sources, the explosions took place in the vicinity of Bryansk, and the Ukrainians were trying to get the Bryansk airfield and the Bryansk some industrial areas where the Russians produced the electronic warfare weapon equipment. Another explosions took place in the vicinity of Oryol. Also, the Ukrainians were trying to send their drones and to get some aircraft, some bases, and so on. The Russians reported that the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation reported that they managed to shut down few drones in the vicinity of Kalush region, and also the Russians confirmed that they destroyed few drones in the vicinity of Ryazan area. When talking about Tula region, there was an explosion, and the Russian sources that reported that that was explosion as a result of air defense work. And this is about the territory in the vicinity of Moscow. The most powerful strike, the most powerful attack took place, let's say, in the northern part of Russia, in the vicinity of St. Petersburg, in the settlement by the name of Pskov. As you know, there is a military airfield in that settlement, the settlement that the Russians were using, and they will use this airport to attack the territory of Ukraine with missiles, with different types of missiles. The Russians, we can take a look at the satellite photo of this area, and we see that there are a lot of aircraft, and this is a perfect target for the Ukrainian drones to attack. The only questions the Ukrainians have how to attack these aircraft that located very far, basically too far from the territory of Ukraine. If we calculate the distance between, let's say, the Chernigov area, Chernigov region and Pskov, let's calculate from this area in direction of Pskov, we're gonna see that the distance between these two settlements, between this is around a little bit less than 700 kilometers. And that was the first question that the most of the Russian military experts ask themselves and ask the people, how the Ukrainians were able to bypass this territory, to bypass around 700 kilometers and to attack the military object. Of course, this is a very important question, and during the night we got a lot of video confirmations, a lot of videos of explosions in this area. Later, the Minister of Defense and Russian sources confirmed that as a result of that strike, around 4 aircrafts were damaged as a result of those strikes. As a result, also the Ukrainians managed to damage the fuel depot and so on. So that was a very powerful attack, and we can say that probably that attack was successful because the Ukrainians managed to destroy up to 4 aircrafts. But what is the most important part from that attack? And one more time, the most important part, how the Ukrainians managed to bypass around 700 kilometers. During the night we got a lot of speculations, a lot of discussions, a lot of projections from many military experts, from just those who tried to get some hype on that attack was made. First update we got from even Turkish sources that attack was made from the territory of Estonia. If we calculate the distance between the territory of Estonia and the Pskov, we're gonna see that the distance is around 40 kilometers. Later we got updates from the Russian sources that probably that attack was made from the territory of Latvia, another Baltic state, and if we calculate the distance from Latvia, it's around 70 kilometers. Of course, this is also another big Ukrainian media victory to force the Russian society, the Russian population, think that attack was made from the territory of the Baltic state, and basically from the territory of NATO. And probably by the morning we got, I guess, the final update regarding the theories, regarding the destinations of attack, and Ukrainian sources, pro-Russian Ukrainian sources, we can say, reported that possibly that attack was made from the Baltic Sea and from the northern direction, from the neutral waters. I believe that this situation more looks to truth, and in this case the distance is around 220 kilometers. Of course, the distance is very big anyway, but it's less than 700 kilometers from the territory of Ukraine, and when talking about territory of Ukraine, that distance, there are a lot of air defense systems, and it's highly unlikely the 21 drone were able to bypass this air defense system. When talking about the Baltic Sea or Gulf of Finland, it's more likely that Ukrainians were trying to attack. When talking about the Baltic states, I'm not sure that the NATO countries would risk so much. But there is another option that Ukrainians prepared that operation without letting know the Baltic states about these plans. It's also an option because another important thing, we will return back to the situation just in a few seconds. With at the same time when the Ukrainians were attacking the Russian Federation with drones and so on, few attempts to attack took place in the vicinity of Crimea. The Russians reported that during the night they managed to repel few attacks of Navy drones that Ukrainians were using to attack Sevastopol and the Russian ships and the Russian fleet in this area. Also, the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation reported that few marine boats, the Ukrainians launched four marine boats, and with the Marines of around 50 soldiers, and the Ukrainians were planning or were trying to make a landing operation and to attack the Russian forces in the vicinity of Skadovsk, the area that Ukrainians during the previous months bombed heavily. We discussed the videos many times how the Ukrainians were attacking this area. And now we understand that that was, first of all, those attempts to attack was some kind of media. The main purpose of those attacks were media purpose, because the fleet, the Ukrainian boats with 50 soldiers were destroyed and 50 soldiers died in the Black Sea. When talking about attacking Sevastopol, the Ukrainians lost every single Navy drone and haven't managed to deal even a single damage to any ship and the port in Sevastopol. When talking about the strikes in the vicinity between Moscow and Ukraine, the Russians managed to shut down every single drone, and those drones that managed to get the target basically didn't damage and haven't made a big damage, just a regular situation. I believe that the Russian positions on the combat lines had more damage from the Ukrainian drones in comparison with this situation. When talking about Pskov, of course, the Ukrainians managed to achieve some success. They managed to damage or probably destroy at least minimum 4 aircrafts, according to the Russian official sources. Probably they managed to get more. But the main purpose of this attack, and we discussed the situation in the previous videos, that the Ukrainians currently have lots of problems. The Ukrainians basically were defeated in the vicinity of Robotyne. They stopped any offensive operation the Vremivka tactical bridgehead. They haven't managed to capture Klishchiivka, and they have problems in Kupiansk. Furthermore, as we discussed, the Ukrainians are planning to launch another total mobilization, not another, but probably the first real total mobilization. And as we discussed, by the beginning of the next year, Zelensky is going to mobilize another more than 500,000 Ukrainians. And I believe that this is official numbers. He's going to mobilize up to 1 million to get real fist and to secure his own life and the life of people who surrounds him. And people understand the situation. This is a very negative update. One more time, the defeat in the vicinity on the south, the total mobilization, and Zelensky just wanted to break the media situation and to show at least some success and to force people to think about the victory, but not about the negative things. If you remember, this almost a few weeks ago, we got the same situation with Crimean Bridge. That was probably the end of some phase of a battle of Robotyne, when the Ukrainians also were defeated. We got a lot of video photo confirmations of destroyed armored vehicles, and then the Ukrainians destroyed the bridge and everybody forgot about the situation. Everybody changed their focus and totally completely forgot about anything in the vicinity of Zaporozhye. Furthermore, if you remember, the next day when the Ukrainians lost Artyomovsk, they started offensive operation, some attacks on the borderlands, and basically crossed the border, captured a lot of settlements. So that was also like an example of very well planned media operation to break the negative trend, to break the negative line in people's minds, and so on. And the previous night attack against the Russian airfields was the same situation. The Ukrainians basically tried to break the negative trend and to find a solution how to legalize their attempts and how to legalize their need in total mobilization of more than 500,000 people. Of course, the Ukrainians wanted to achieve better results, and they planned to get better results, like to destroy a lot of airplanes, to land our soldiers in Crimea and Zaporozhye area, probably to damage some ships in Crimea and so on. And like if we calculate every single this success, it could be a very significant media victory. But we see that they achieved maybe less than 20% of the things that they're planned. As an act of revenge, the Russians sent a lot of drones above the territory of Ukraine. During the previous night, we heard explosions in Sumy, Cherkasy, Kyiv, Zhytomyr, Kryvyi Rog, and so on, as Odessa and Nikolaev area. When talking about the situation on the ground, I believe that there was one important geolocated video that I believe we need to discuss. The rest of the icons we will discuss in the evening update of the local time. Today, the Russian forces drone squad Babry published another video how they attacked and hunt the Ukrainian infantry, Ukrainian soldiers on the east or on the south of Robotyne and already on the east of Nova Pokrovka. On this video, we see how the Russian drone got and hit the Ukrainian infantry who were running along the forest lines. So basically, as a result of Ukrainian offensive operation, they managed to bypass fields and to develop their offensive and their attacks further to the south in direction of the this defense belt, which means that Ukrainians continue attack, and which also confirms a lot of problems for the Russians inside of Robotyne itself. So this is the current Ukrainian positions, and I believe that they will try to develop this attack further, and I believe that they will continue pressure and they will try to enter Nova Pokrovka from the southeast of the settlement. When talking about other front lines, we got a lot of updates. We got some videos, interesting situation in the vicinity of Andreevka. We remember the Ukrainian attempts to attack in this direction. Probably during the previous days, the Ukrainians made another attempt to attack, and as a result of the last attack, the Ukrainians managed to capture this territory to establish their checkpoint. Currently, they're trying to make some evacuation, and we got videos of attempts to evacuate wounded soldiers, and these territories currently under Ukrainian control, at least these small railway forest lines along the railways. And there was another video published by the Ukrainian forces how the Ukrainian soldiers created an ambush for the Russians, and as a result of small clashes, the Ukrainians managed to kill up to 10 Russian soldiers who were trying to bring some munition to make rotation and so on. So basically, we can confirm, at least we got some geolocations, that as a result of clashes during the previous days, the Ukrainians managed to capture this territory, or at least to establish some control. And maybe this is not stable, so stable control, and the Russians are able to force the Ukrainians to step back, but yet we haven't received any proofs from the Russian side regarding any attempts to force the Ukrainians to step back. And that's it for this short video. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.